If you're concerned about the future of your organization when you step down, then where will the mantle fall? A biblical and legal guide to succession planning is a must-read for you. It delves into the scriptural and legal aspect of succession planning, characteristics of successors, the people, the process, church bylaws, common myths, even issues with nepotism. Where will the mantle fall? Written by Richmond's own attorney, Pastor Twila Travis, and available at Amazon.com. Looking to start a church, business, or nonprofit organization in 2021? Do you need help forming an LLC, applying for a copyright or trademark, revising church bylaws, crafting a succession plan, or developing a compensation package for your pastor and staff? Contact the law office of Twila Travis, a Richmond-based legal boutique focused on the needs of pastors, entrepreneurs, creatives in our community. Let's make your vision a reality in 2021. Visit TwilaTravis.com. That's TRAVELL Travis.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Mantle Mondays. My name is Twila Travis, and I'm your proud host for Mantle Mondays, where we have candid conversations with entrepreneurs, pastors, leaders, and others in our community. And we're so grateful for you taking time out to be with us tonight. We want you to like, to share, to comment. Feel free to even ask questions, and our producer will flash those comments on the screen. Let our guests know that you're watching and you're engaging and you have questions, or even for them, we'll try to share those on tonight. We're celebrating Women's History Month, and after taking a couple weeks off after the passing of my grandmother, I'm excited that we're back with Mantle Mondays, and we have some phenomenal guests that are coming up over the next couple weeks. And so we want you to make sure you tune in on Monday nights for Mantle Mondays as we hear the ministerial, professional journeys of some of these great leaders and kingdom ambassadors. And so this month is Women's History Month. Today is actually Women's History Day. And I'm honored, and she may not know this, but this person, our guest tonight, is somebody that inspired me before I even met her. Some years ago in our Convocation magazine, I was maybe a teenager, they highlighted this young lady who was doing big things. She was in school at Howard University at the time, and they showcased her as an example of our International for Christ motto has always been education plus salvation. And they showed this young lady who was studying at Howard University and was pursuing her doctorate degree. And that inspired me to say, if she can do it, I can do it too. And so I'm honored tonight to have on International Women's Day for Women's History Month, none other than my friend, my sister in Christ, Dr. Twila Lindsay.
Well, hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. It is truly an honor. I'll tell you, it's an honor, Bishop Travis. And just even to share how I inspired you, and I didn't even know it. So this is the first time I'm hearing about this. So that's even more of a shock.
Your life can inspire others that you may not ever meet. And so, yeah, you've been a role model, an inspiration to my life and my wife's life, and even my daughter's. And so I'm just so honored to have you on our little show.
No.
So how are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. I'm managing.
Managing the pandemic. How are you managing?
You said with the pandemic?
How are you managing the pandemic? How are you?
I'm actually, and this is, I'm doing well, actually. This sounds this doesn't sound good for some people, but I have looked at what has happened over this past year, and it has caused me to press in even more to get closer to the Lord, closer
Okay.
to discover who I really am. Um, and I look at it as an advantage. I know a lot of people lost loved ones, and my heart is aching for those who've lost loved ones. But at the same time, when I look and be a little selfish, just a little selfish, it has given me an opportunity to press even closer to the Lord, to get in places and spaces actually I never thought I would.
Wow.
Um, yeah, never thought I would. Even naturally discovering, who I am, as well
Mhm.
as spiritually discovering more of who I am.
Well, there's certain steps to make that happen. I know we're going off script already out the gate, but
That's
how does
okay.
that happen? Because you're seeing for some saints, it seems like it's been almost a great falling away.
Mhm.
And then you hear that lost faith, lost interest, and then you others are saying, man, I'm closer to God than ever before. I'm learning more about myself. God is revealing things to me. Was that intentional? Did you make a
For me,
conscious effort to say, hey, this is the time I'm going to get closer to God? Or how did that happen?
Um, I would say it was partly intentional, because there were questions I had and answers that I was seeking. And I was just determined I wanted to find out for myself. That's where I was. I wanted the answer. I was hearing so much, but I wanted to know for myself, what was the answer? Is there more for me? I was struggling and trying to make a decision. And in trying to make that decision, that's what caused me to press even further in than what I normally would. And
So,
so I would say semi-intentional, unintentional.
how does that look like in terms? Does that meaning more time in prayer? Was
Oh,
there a consecration? What did that actually manifest? How did it manifest?
well, it actually, this gave me more time than usual in prayer. And I know some people are listening and say, how much more time could she spend in prayer? But it gave me more time than usual in prayer, consecration, um, fasting.
Okay.
Yeah, fasting. So it was that gave me, because having now working virtually, um, and that gave me the additional time. You get up, you get ready, you go out. Well, we get up, we get ready, but I didn't have to necessarily go out. So the
Right.
time to get ready to go out and the time to spend driving, that
Right.
was additional time that I pushed into prayer.
I love that. And that's my similar testimony. That time of commute and that time of getting dressed now
Mhm.
gets to be time with God, which allows me to learn more about God, get more into his word. So you mentioned that you're online. Um, Professionally, you are the associate dean at Catholic University School of Professional Studies. Did I say it correct?
Yeah, Metropolitan School of Professional Studies. Yes.
Okay. How long have you served in that position?
So that position, it would be a little over 2 years now, getting to
Okay.
the 2 year mark. Yeah. Um,
Have y'all made any decisions about graduation yet?
Actually, no. Actually, the president of the university is trying to hold off to make a decision, believe it or not, by mid-April.
Mid-April.
I better be careful who may be listening on here. I think it's wonderful he's waiting to mid-April.
Right. I understand. I saw UVA was talking about students only now or students with parents later. I think Hampton is looking at virtual. And so I know it's getting close to that season. And people are saying, wait a minute, is this going to be another cycle, where we don't have actual commencement or commencement on the scale that we've had before? Tell me more about the School of Professional Studies. Who is that for? Is that for your traditional or is that for a non-traditional student?
Well, it's geared towards what we call the non-traditional student, but we do have and we do admit traditional age students. So, at Catholic University, there are 12 schools. We're one of the 12. And so what has happened is that there are a lot of individuals, a lot of people who, for some reason or another, they were not able to continue their education after high school. Life hits, life
Right.
occurred. Some may have to work, some may have got married, have children, just put things on the back burner. So a lot of times the older, I would call the non-traditional age student, they're reluctant about going back to school. Because when you think about it, they've matured. They're in their early 30s, mid 30s. They do not want to sit in a classroom with 17 and 18-year-olds. They don't. So our school has provided the opportunity to offer classes online, with the pandemic now. So we were online and on campus, but the classes are in the evening. So the non-traditional student is more than likely working. So when they get off of work, they can now come to school.
Okay.
And
So what are some of the, when you say non-traditional, what age range is that?
So the average student for us, I would say, if I remember correctly, is between 35 to 38.
Wow.
So
and they're coming back to get their bachelor's degree?
Yes. So they're coming, some are even coming to get their bachelor's.
Okay. Okay.
Some are coming to get their bachelor's. What we've entailed with the bachelor's degree is usually been students who maybe have started out at a school but was not able to finish. So we offer a program in terms of one of the degree programs. It's called an interdisciplinary degree. Okay. And actually with that degree, you can transfer in up to 84 credits.
Wow. You almost done.
But long as it can be placed accordingly. Right. But that's for the students who, you've gone to this school, you've gone to that school, for somehow or another, you haven't been able to actually finish. Okay. So we allow opportunity to say, here is an option for you. You can get a bachelor's degree from the Catholic University of America after you bringing in all your 84 credits, if we can find a place for them to fit. So we offer.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So are you seeing more people enroll now during the pandemic? Has it been an increase, decrease, or pretty steady?
So it's been pretty steady. But what we are finding out, this is very interesting, is that our population in terms of their preference for classes is switching. When we first, right before the pandemic, students would determine they're coming to campus. I don't want to take an online class. I want to come to campus. So we offer both online and on campus. But now when we went through the shift with the pandemic, the initial response was, I cannot do this. Okay. So what we did was we encouraged the professors that would normally be physically on campus to do their live sessions. So the classes were synchronous. Live online, which caused the professors, they had to be a little innovative. They had to be more engaging, because what I told them, bring in the classroom to virtual learning online live. So now, as we're getting ready for the summer and fall semesters, now the conversation is different. Now they're like, is the class going to be online? Okay. Are you opening the campus back up yet? And we're still waiting for a decision. It depends on what the guidelines are. And those students who really were pushing back with online, they're loving it. Wow. They're like, I only got a couple of classes left. You think I got to take them on campus? No, you need to right now. No, we're going to be live online. So I've seen a switch in terms of the modality that they have a preference for now.
I love that. And so we focus so much on, secondary education and your traditional college students. So what has been other than what you mentioned, switching to virtual, what struggles do you typically find for your non-traditional students? And a question just came up on the screen, what would you say to someone who attended this school, couple credits here, couple credits there, but don't have the degree to show for it? Someone who's watching today that maybe in their 30s or 40s, maybe they're a single mom, maybe they're divorced, maybe they're looking for a new career. What would you tell them in the pandemic about going back to school?
I think this is a prime time you should take advantage of it, because the way things are shifting naturally as well as spiritually, you're going to have that additional knowledge, understanding, and believe it or not, some type of what I say, piece of paper underneath your belt. Okay. And that it can be done, because a lot of times before, people wouldn't go because they had to get home. They had to take care of the children. They had to cook. They had to do things like that. But now with virtual learning, particularly those that we call asynchronous, where your learning is you have access to your class 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you can actually go in and do your coursework at a time frame that fits your schedule.
Okay.
So I would definitely encourage, now is the time, because you have a little more freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And that society now, the shift is going to be that you're going to have to demonstrate some type of higher level of education.
So now you've been in higher education administration. You did 2 years at Catholic. Previously, you served as dean at Strayer for how many years?
There was,
It was a good chunk
11?
of time.
It was like 11 years. Yes.
Wow. So did you set out as a career to be in higher education administration?
Actually, no. When I look back over, my initial goal was I was going to be a therapist.
Okay.
I wanted to do therapy. I wanted to focus particularly on adolescents.
Okay.
And initially it started out that way. And then I became, I wanted to do therapy and teach.
Okay.
So what happened was, as I began to do the therapy under my training and teach, I became a little overwhelmed with the therapy.
Okay.
Honestly, I came a little overwhelmed with the therapy, and I decided to do more teaching. And then I just love the teaching, and I love to be able to bring the real life experiences into the classroom. I know, theory is good, books are good, and you can sit there and read all day, but it's nothing like someone be able to share specifically based upon experiences.
Absolutely.
And that seemed to have captured the students more. And then I got to a point where I was doing therapy at that particular hospital shut down. So I was pretty much forced to just move further into, trying to get more classes to teach. And I'm jumping ahead, then the opportunity to be a dean just kind of was presented to me.
Just presented. I love that.
I would say it was presented to me. I would have to say, when I look back over my life, it was the favor of God. Despite what I wanted to do, God's favor was always there. Even with the lessons that he had to teach me, the favor was there. So I'm teaching, I'm doing what I need to do. And then senior level management approaches me and say, here's an opportunity we want you to consider. I went on the interview, and like within the next 2 days, they were like, go to corporate, do this, do that. I was invited to, they had this big retreat every year. I was invited to go to retreat before I was even put in the position. Wow. So when I look back over now, it was just the favor of God that, they touched the hearts of senior level management to say, get her.
So what would you tell a young person who feels you can't be both, that you can't be active in the church, active in ministry, and have a successful career? Like, if you have to do one or the other. You've been able to navigate both. What would advice, or what would you say to somebody that says you can't do both, it's one or the other?
Well, I would say you definitely can do both, and you have to be able to know how to merge the two together.
Okay.
How to merge it together. Well, from the spiritual component, you need to be able to get close and have a relationship with the Lord, because that relationship with the Lord will cause doors to open that you don't have to even ask for. Then once you get into the doors, then because of your relationship with the Lord, things will be revealed to you. Answers will be given to you. Things will, when I tell you things will just fall in your lap, it will. So you can do both. You have to learn how to manage both, and you have to understand the timing to be able to manage both.
So do you find yourself in advising students that the ministry kicks in when you're supposed to be staying over here in academics? So do you allow it to seep out a little bit, or do you?
Now, this is amazing. It seeps out in various ways. So, I always tell people you have to understand how God has called you and how you minister and how you witness. Okay. So I'm not the one who will be, I'll be honest with you, I'm not the one that's going to be on the corner with the flyer.
Okay.
I realize that.
Right.
But my advice to the students, my current level of encouraging them, showing care, is a representation of the Spirit of God. So there was one young lady who I did actually close the door and pray with her.
Okay.
I actually closed the door to my office. I prayed with her. She was I didn't go in, y'all. I know y'all thinking, what she do? I prayed with her because as she began to share some things that she was struggling with, I just felt the Lord say, close the door and pray with her. I'm like, okay, oh my goodness, I'm about to be fired, But no, I closed the door, and as I embraced her, she just broke down and cried. I prayed for her. I gave her words of encouragement. And then she actually ultimately came back, I want to say maybe about a year later, and thanked me. And, because, I did it and didn't think anything of it, but she came back and thanked me and shared how much she was going through. But through that, she felt, strength and felt encouragement. So that, I would say, was 2 times I actually closed my door to pray. The others I've sat there, and just shared as I heard the Spirit of the Lord give me the words to share.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. So the ministry does kick in.
So then how does that also work with your colleagues who are many are non-believers, if not hostile? I remember sitting at the table and they was throwing off what, I used to go to this Pentecostal tongue talking church, and I had to sit there and almost take it and be like, hey, I'm one of them. Do the other administrators kind of know your background, or how do you even deal with them thinking that, hey, it's that education and religion are in conflict with each other, but you've managed to merge them into who you are?
Well, I would say this. I'm gonna be real vague about this. So in some of the jobs, let me put jobs with an S on. In some of the jobs I've been in, I did have to speak up and say, well, in a very calm way, it's really not that way. It depends on where, they was bad mouthing the church. And I did speak up and say, every church is not like that. You have to make sure you find the right place, the right facility to go to. And it's not about, I remember having a discussion about religion one day, and I did jump in. I said, you all have it wrong. Religion is man-made. It's about a spiritual relationship with the one true living God. And, of course, you get the look like, who is this,
Right.
But from that, I think someone decided to go in and investigate. And so they go in the internet on the web, and they finding some things. And all of a sudden, one day, somebody popped up with a picture and said to me, I didn't know you were a pastor. I said, me neither. So this picture she found, she just automatically attached it to the fact I was a pastor. I said, no, I'm not a pastor. I said, now, I will minister. I said, but I'm not a pastor. So in that case, I began to talk about just what it is, but also they begin to treat me very different after that. Very different.
Bad way, or they just were more sensitive of what they said around you?
They're very sensitive of what they said around me and very respectful. So, for example, if there was a meeting, and like you said, they were, they may be doing their talk that they would do on the street.
Right.
But then they will look, they say, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, no, you do your thing. It's okay. I'm all right. Because I didn't want to present ourselves as so stiff-necked that we can't relate to them.
Right. But I love what you said, that basically when I have to, I will speak up. And when the Lord is leading me, I will minister. And is that something that you kind of learned that over time, that God is kind of giving you that wisdom to know when to jump in and when to just leave it alone, both with your students and with your colleagues?
Yes, I would definitely say that was over time. I wasn't like that in the beginning. In the beginning, you will find me to be one way or the other. Either I'm not going to say one word at all, or I'm going to come out there, that warrior just gonna come out there and tell you something. So over time, I had to learn, and I would ask the Lord, help me. I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And then the Lord would teach me. And then also I have people to help me. Okay. So when there were issues, I would say, I don't know how to handle this, how to deal with this. And so, you take that mature saint with wisdom, and they can tell you what to do and how to do it. Then as time went on, I would say really it grew. I would probably say, I would probably say over the last 6 years, I began to really understand how important it is to hear and speak as the Lord leads you. Yeah.
I love that. Now, we spoke about you being perhaps a minority in terms of being a Pentecostal in higher education, but also as a African-American female. Now at Hampton, I'm at a HBCU. We have 11 schools, and now 10 out of the 11 schools have female deans.
Okay.
The chancellor is a female, the provost, sister provost, the general counsel. We have one school that has a male dean and the president and the vice president. But for your experience, some female that's watching, what dynamics or what challenges have you experienced as an African-American female moving up through the ranks of higher education administration?
I would probably say my biggest challenge would be rejection, not being accepted. Rejection, not being accepted. And in terms of, I think sometimes I wonder whether it was because I was Black, or whether it was because they, the people that would promote me, let me put it like that, the individuals that would promote me, whether or not they thought I just was not skilled enough. I didn't have the knowledge, the understanding, or enough experience. So my challenge has been rejection.
So how have you dealt with that, or have you used that as a stepping stone, or did it get to you at one time? It doesn't get to you as much now, or how does it affect you?
So in the beginning, little vulnerability, little transparency. And we have some people from my YouTube family, they know how I am. In the beginning, very angry, very upset. I did not understand. And, you see other people moving up, and it bothered me. I was very angry because you need to explain to me why this educated young lady cannot be in that position.
Okay.
So I was very, very angry, very angry. But as time went on, and I'm kind of jumping, as time went on and the Lord began to really deal with me. Okay. I began to become more confident in who I was, that God allowed me to be. Because if it wasn't for the Lord, I wouldn't have had, accomplished what I accomplished. So I began to just focus on the fact, it's okay if they don't want me. It's all right. I'm going to perform to the best of my ability in the current position that I am. So there's some point, somebody's going to see it. Someone's going to see it. And I used to always say this, and Lord, I don't know how many people we got listening to this, but I used to always say, lady, I didn't sleep with anyone to get my degree or get my position. I would make it known. And that's how I was in the beginning. No, I didn't sleep with anybody. I earned this, I did this, and I did that. But, I quickly got shut down. And the Lord reminded me, you didn't do anything. I did that. Yeah, that was God. I did that. Okay, all right, you got me, Lord. Now, when the rejection occurs, I'm okay. Because even though it has occurred in some positions, there were other avenues that opened up. And then it made me understand why I wasn't in that position, or why I shouldn't have been there.
So you've mentioned sometimes people making insensitive comments about your faith. Have you dealt with racially or sexist statements that you've had to check? And you mentioned the angry Black female. Sometimes I hear my students talk about that, like, I don't want to be a stereotypical angry Black female, but things make you angry and you have to address it in the moment. But where's that balance, you know?
So I had to learn, and this is for everyone out there, you have to learn, despite how angry you are, you have to present it in a manner that people will hear you.
Okay.
Coming off, just, pouncing off, bang. No, you're angry. You're frustrated. So the wisdom comes in is, how do I share my anguish? How do I share my frustration? How do I let these people in management know, here is my concern, or I need to understand what's happening. I need to understand what's going on. So I remember sharing that in one of the jobs with one of the senior level management. And I said, I told them, I said, I'm really struggling with this. And I need you, can you help me understand really what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And, they gave the story. I accepted the story. I didn't want to accept it, but I accepted the story, because at that point I began to think, okay, it's nothing that can be done. All I can do is continue to do what I'm doing. Now, the thing as far as disrespect, actually, the disrespect didn't come from colleagues. It came from students.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
It came from students. I remember a couple of times I just had to put individuals in their place in the classroom. I had to let them know. I had to let them know. I remember one time, and Lord forgive me for this, I remember one time telling this young lady, don't let this suit or these heels fool you.
Oh my. Sanctified Twila? Oh my.
Yes, Satan, sanctified Twila. Don't let this suit and these heels fool you. Then I had to get a couple of people straight, in the classroom. But, it wasn't that harsh in the classroom. But it was a manner in which, how people have a way they can just make you look like you have egg on your face.
Right.
So, I share, because a couple of times people question, who are you to teach this class? Okay, well, let me run down my resume to you.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and this was not an African American person, okay? And I said, well, if you have a moment, then let me run down my qualifications that allows me to stand up here and teach this information to you. So I had to come back with things like that. Now,
tell me that resume. Tell me that resume.
The resume was that, I have an undergraduate degree in psychology, a master's degree in psychology, and a doctorate degree in psychology. Then I would run down, I was research psychologist for the Department of Transportation. I worked for the military. What's that place? It was a military agency I worked for doing research. I was also a unit therapist for a psychiatric hospital for adolescent boys ages 12 to 18. And I just rolled down. I said, do I need to go any further? Very nice, very calm in this demeanor, standing up there. And, we're talking about a class. I'm picturing the classroom now. I'm like, oh, my goodness. Had to be a class about 35 students.
And the rest of the students was like, oh, my.
They were just sitting there like, okay. All right, can we get started now? Okay. Chapter what?
Oh, my goodness. So let me ask this. So a lot of times for saints, there is a struggle there because we believe in faith. We believe in favor. We say promotion does not come from the east or west, but come from God. But in the professional world, there has to be a level of knowing how to promote and publicize yourself and your accomplishments and even be a go-getter. Where's that line? Because I hear a lot of sometimes saints say, well, if it's meant to be, God will give it to me. And they're just kind of waiting for God to drop it in their lap. But there has to be a certain level of ambition and aspiration. Where do you draw the line between your faith and favor ambition, aspiration, and to be able to you gave us your you didn't brag, you didn't boast, but you stated facts. So
Right.
where how do you navigate that in your professional career?
I think that what I do is I'm extremely, as you know, I'm extremely humble, very humble, because all it took was the Lord to shut me down that one time. That's a whole different story. I don't know if I want to share that. But when the Lord shut me down and I had to begin to really deal with reality that, like I said, the Lord, you didn't get this, I gave it to you. So I've learned to balance by I know y'all is tired of this, but in prayer.
Mm-hmm.
In prayer, okay, Lord, I want to pursue this. Can I do this? Can I go after this? Will this work? Is this a part of what you have for me? So I think it's okay for us to be ambitious and be what we call God confidence as opposed to arrogant. And it's a little bit of self-confidence, but you want to monitor it in terms of you don't come off in a sense of being arrogant. You know your skill set, you know what you can do, and you know what you cannot do. And I think that's where it comes in, that understanding where you are, what you can do, and making sure as you press forward, it is a part of the plan that God has for you.
So
Does
now
that
you
help?
mentioned the masters and the PhD, the schools. You're a fellow Bison, HBCU grad.
Yeah.
So how much did Howard, that experience play into who you are as a professional?
I would have to say Howard transformed my life. When I started with the master's degree, I'm coming there happy, go lucky, yeah, yeah. Life changed completely.
Okay.
Life changed. What Howard did for me was, I remember this one class, this one professor. And it was just like, you have that class where it's like, come on, you have to be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember this stuck out in me. He said, as a Howard University student, you have to be out there prepared more than 100%.
Mm-hmm.
He said, when you step outside of these doors of Howard U, you're not only representing the school, but you're representing yourself. So he began to just talk, and I just kept sitting there, and it just transformed my way of thinking in terms of I was more confident, and knowing that what I had acquired and the skills I was gaining was going to benefit me down the line. Even in those classes, and you probably know about this, and everybody know those classes where you have that professor
Mm-hmm.
that talks about nothing in the book.
Right.
It's time for an exam. You thinking the exam is going to be about what they discuss.
Right.
And had nothing to do is there. So even with all of that, I learned basic life examples, basic life skills, and how to tie in what we were being taught with everyday life.
Right.
And even just to present yourself in a level of professionalism. I had that growing up, but it was something about going to Howard. It enhanced it more,
So now I don't want to get you in trouble because I know where you're at teach now. But for someone who's watching, trying to decide, do I go to each HBCU route? They've seen Vice President Kamala Harris. They saw the NBA All-Star Game, HBCUs showcased, and they're trying to decide between the PWI and the HBCU. Is there anything you might could share on maybe not make their decision, but maybe something to consider in their decision process?
What I always tell students or people who ask me, where's the money?
It's not black, white, it's green.
Yeah, where's the money? If you can go, now I think the experience of being able to go to Black University is great. Because it gives you a sense of definitely who you are. It's so rooted, so grounded in you, along with your level of professionalism and education. Because I used to tell people, it's okay if I don't have a job, if I don't have the great and wonderful things, but it's one thing no man can take away from me, and that's the degree that I earned with the help of the Lord, that knowledge, the skills. No one can take that away. So, the rejection may come, the no's may come, but it was okay because guess what? You wasn't going to take that away from me. I still had that. But I also looked at the fact that if there's a school where you can get money, because with education now, it can be a challenge financial wise. But if you are tossed up, but if you have this place that's going to give you some money, I say for this day and age, go where the money is.
Okay.
But understand, if you're going to another university where you may be a minority, there will be challenges. So you have to be strong in who you are, strong in knowing who you are. And you need a support group because it's going to hit you. And when it hits you, you got to have somebody to go to, somebody to talk to.
Now, I love that. Now, you mentioned growing up, you're apostolic royalty. You're the granddaughter of the founder of the Way of the Cross Church, Bishop Henry Chauncey Brooks. You grew up at the Mother Church of the Way of the Cross. Describe Twila, the little girl, teenager, growing up at the Mother Church. Maybe that's the answer right there.
Ooh, that's the best answer right there. Growing up in the church, and people probably listen to you. You're right. It's all family. All family. It was four of us as little girls. We grew up together, my best friends, and they're also family. So we were known to get into mischief, get into trouble. You did what mom and dad said. You're going to sing on the choir. You're going to go to all the services that are there. You're going to do everything they say do. So that was me growing up. Whatever my parents said do, you do it. My friends were in the church. It's not like it is now. It's it's not the camaraderie that used to be. So I look forward to going to church, going to choir rehearsal. Why? Because my friends were there. Yeah, we may have gotten in trouble. We acted up. We snuck around the store during church time. We did everything that we were not supposed to do. But they were my friends. Our friends, it was just a bunch of us grew up together. And so that was me growing up in the church.
I love that. Now, did your church encourage you to further your education? Were they supportive, or were they kind of like, we don't know about you doing this psychology? That's psychology, sociology.
No, it's psychology.
Psychology. So
psychology.
We don't know about doing all this.
Very, very supportive. I can't. My grandfathers. Okay, they both were anointed, powerful men of God. Their children, my mother's father, encouraged them to go to school. My mother is a Howard University graduate.
Okay.
My aunt Isabel went to Howard University.
That's right.
Okay, so they encourage education. It was no, you go forward, you go do your thing, whatever you need to do. It was never you shouldn't be doing that. Think about this or think about that. No, once I made my mind up, that's where I want to go. The church, my family was in 100% support.
So now you're growing up in the church, born and raised in the church, and now God is dealing with you to be more, do more. And I was there part of the time as God was dealing with Bishop Brooks about loosening, letting the women be free and opening up more doors for women in ministry. What was your progression in that? How did you come to where you are now to say, yes, this is who I am. This is what God is calling me to do, especially after for most of your, I guess, growing up, it was no, 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 no. Now it's kind of like, it's kind of okay. How did you then say, okay, Lord, here I am?
Well, it all started where, I took a left turn in life. And so dealing with that left turn, I knew, I said, it's time for me to get my life together. It's time for me to get myself together. And there was all of a sudden a yearning for me to want to learn more. I wanted more. I kept thinking it has to be more to it than this.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't mean to be rude or disrespectful or down anyone, but it had to be more than me just singing on the choir.
Okay.
Okay. It had to be more. There was something that said there's more. And it all started with, and you're right. I definitely got to give honor. Bishop Brooks, my pastor, is definitely, God began to deal with them and he began to open up the avenue for women to minister.
Mm-hmm.
And when that avenue began to open, I was also attending our apostolic Christian college with Elder Blanos. I got to put them out there.
Right.
My hunger stirred from that teaching. And as you know, it was teaching. We wasn't just using the Bible, we were using other sources, and some of the sources. And so it wasn't just what I call, and again, don't mean to offend anyone, a surface level teaching, but we got into the Greek, Aramaic, the Hebrew. We went scripture by scripture. And as I was going through the school, I began to become more and more hungry.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna skip ahead real quick. The bottom line is I began to have dreams.
Okay.
And I had these dreams and I was just like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? What is this? And then prophecies began to come to me. So people started prophesying on the plans that God had for my life. And I was like, okay, what is all this for real? And then finally, like you said, one day I just said, when I say total surrender, I said, Lord, I'm done with me.
Okay.
I'm done with me. I got it. I hear you. What do you need me to do? I'm yours.
And that answer was, at that point, what was that answer? What was that specifically?
Okay, so specifically, the Lord was showing me that, I was individuals going to be dealing with warfare.
Okay.
Casting out, pulling down, that whole thing. Some of these dreams were just like, what is this? And then as these dreams came forth, I began to accept what he called me to do. And I often tell people this is a difficult position because you see things, you feel things that other people don't. Mm-hmm. And so you're standing there saying, did you see that just black thing just run across there? You can't tell anybody, or you see things being unfolded, and you can't tell anybody. But then the Lord blessed me to be able to not only, I got to throw these names out in case I forget. So Blano helped me in terms of the Apostolic Christian College, learning in depth with the Word of God, how to study it, different things. And then, he had a 5:00 prayer, faithfully went to. And he was one of the individuals who began to speak into my ear to help guide me. Then we had Prophetess Vera Moreland. She began to push me. We had it was a group of us would go to her house every Saturday for 5:00 prayer. Wow. So that was pushing, yes. And then when I knew it was something else more, it was still something missing. The Lord allowed me to connect with, she's an apostle now, but at the time she was Elder Janice Fontaine. She's the one I would say gave me hands-on spiritual warfare training. When I say hands-on, she put me in the field. So she was speaking into me as well. And of course, we can't forget Sister Alice Page. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of throwing all those names out there because I don't want to forget. But that's where it all began. It began with my yes. Now, did I stay on track? No.
Okay.
I didn't. I strayed away a little bit. But even in straying away, the Lord pulled me back. And that second pull back was total surrenderance. Total. I
And I
call people. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go
no,
ahead.
no, I appreciate this so much because I know of people, and I'm not gonna call anybody out,
Uh-oh.
that God is dealing with in similar ways.
Okay.
But it's two things you hit on. One is, well, who do I go to when there's
Mhm.
nobody that understands me or God is dealing with this way? And you mentioned how seemingly God sent mentors, and you're like, well, any of these people you sought out, or did God kind of send them to you? And then the second question is for a person who says, well, I can just be gifted as a sister or gifted as a missionary. What do you say to that person when God has made clear, I've called you to be more than, not no disrespect, but I've called you to be more
Mhm.
than that, but you're still trying to stay in a box that you don't fit in? What do you say to a person who lacks the mentorship and the person who lacks the willingness to go all the way in?
Okay. So I'll say, let me go first. With the mentorship, I believe if you press hard enough, God will reveal people. He will
Okay.
connect you with who you should be connected with. Um, with Elder Fontaine, that came about actually Pastor Moreland, well, Prophetess Moore, somehow or another, she got us connected. And from there, things went on. But the connection was more so just to teach,
Okay.
wanted the opportunity to teach. And when we connected, and my brother was a part of this as well, and when we connected, she clearly started meet with me alone, and she started sharing and telling me what the Lord was telling her about me,
Okay.
and that she knew what her assignment was with me. And I'm sitting there like, what? But because I was so hungry
Hmm.
and I didn't want to jump ahead,
Okay.
that I believe the Lord created it. And so for that, for those individuals, if you're just patient, God will create the opportunity, because you do not want to connect with the wrong individual.
Hmm.
Because just because someone appears this way, because someone sounds this way, that may not be who you need to be connected with to mentor you, to help you grow, to stretch you. There may be some individuals where God is going to teach you himself.
Okay.
There's some people he's going to teach you. May get to a certain point where, no, I'm just going to teach you yourself. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to teach you, and he'll make it clear. And how he made it clear, for example, part with me, he's made it clear, like right now, I feel like, okay, I need another mentor. I need
Hmm.
someone else.
Hmm.
But the Lord will not connect me with anybody. I
Wow.
have two I have two what I call informal mentors,
Okay.
but actually to go and connect and sit under like I did with Elder Blano and the other ones, the Lord will not connect me with anyone.
That's because you
So
graduated. Now it's time for you to
is that
start.
what it is? So
That,
I sat there one day, I was just like, okay, Lord, you know what? I'm just gonna stop asking. Okay. Whatever you need me to do, here I am. So that's what I want to say to that person, that if if the Lord has someone for you, and I like what that person put up there, the opportunity will be presented to you. The connection will be made.
okay.
The question for the other one in terms of the ones that stuck, I want to just encourage you, please come out the box. You have to come out the box. Um, and I'm going to kind of jump here. It's the enemy that's keeping you bound and chained.
Hmm.
You can know Jesus, but the enemy can still have a grip on your thought processes, your paradigm, how you think about things, because God has called all of us to do something. So even if you have the title of missionary, you can still operate under that title, but do what God has called you to do.
Okay.
Does that help? And
Yes.
I and pull myself back. I need to let me pull myself back because I will.
No, I'm just. Hey, this is Women's History Month. This is International Women's Day. Hey, we eased into the harder questions, so I want to help the saints here tonight and you've been a tremendous help. And I'm just going to put this plug in once again. Like, share, comment if you haven't done so already. My wife posted a question. What if someone knows that they're called or gifted but doesn't want to be trained? Is the unwillingness to be trained a disqualifier?
Yeah, what's going to happen? Oh, what happens is, I'm sorry, I got to tape it away. What happens, if you're not willing to be trained, that's almost a form of rebellion.
Okay.
That's like a form of rebellion. That's a form of where you're not willing to surrender yourself. You're not willing to humble yourself. You're not willing to sit under someone who can teach you, who can mentor you, who can stretch you, who can help you to grow. In this day and time, and I'm just going to say this, we got some wild ones out there that they just jumping out there with no training, and the things they're saying are incorrect. There is no biblical foundation. There's no biblical proper exegesis of the scriptures. They're just going out there just saying things. So if a person does not want training, that's a fact that they're not willing to surrender. That means they want to maintain their control. When we come to Christ, when we want to be used and be ministers for Christ, we relinquish our control. We're now controlled by God. So if you don't want the training, and if you say, I'm still going to do it this way, my way, no man, that's a form of rebellion and disobedience and the lack of humility that a person is demonstrating. Let me stop right there.
Now I'm going to swing to the other side of the pendulum. What if someone respects God and the gifts of God so much that they're afraid to use them because they don't want to get it wrong? When you said you see things, I know people who see things and hear things and discern things, but because they honor the gift so much, they're afraid to use it because they're afraid they're going to get it wrong.
It has to be a faith move, and they have to be okay with saying, I may get it wrong. Because the fact is, if they do the faith move, God will honor that. And if it wasn't exactly correct, if they wasn't exactly on point, if they seek the Lord, he will give them the guidance. He will let them know, you wasn't quite right this time. Try this. Okay. Or he'll send someone, and he'll connect you with someone to say, oh, you didn't quite get it this time, but it's okay. Push in a little bit further, do this a little bit further. So I would want to say, pray and ask God to confirm it. Sometimes people say, well, when you ask him to confirm it, no, because you want to be right, God will honor you if you say, Lord, I just want to make sure I'm right with this. I've done that plenty of times because he's given me stuff that nobody else. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I need you. Help me with this. That's my conversation with the Lord. Help me. Okay. You gave me this, Lord. You said this, but this happened. And he'll come right back and say, but I said it. Okay. And then it's been like one time he said something, and then I was just like, no, nobody else. They told me I was wrong. They told me maybe I got it wrong. But in a couple of years, it manifested.
Wow. So and you got to stay confident during that time that was what God told you.
Yes. I was like, I know he told me this. I know he did. And then I did begin to second guess. I was like, well, maybe that didn't happen. And so also you have to learn how God deals with you.
Okay.
Yeah, how God deals with you. So that's another thing I learned. How the Lord deals with person A may not be how he deals with me. So that's where that intimate relationship comes in, when you know and you understand this is how God is going to deal with me. Now, as time goes on now, we're entering a new transition where he's dealing with some people differently. Because he needs to stretch you, he needs to pull you, he needs to get you out of there because it's so much more and you're still stuck here. So he's going to cause some people, he may not respond to you in the way he normally would. He may not deal with you in the way you used to it. It's what we call getting out of there. Okay? And so he'll stretch you and he'll cause you, and then you'll be like, okay, he's dealing with me differently now because there's so much more of him out there. It's so much that God has for us.
For a person who's struggling with, and our time is almost up, I'm enjoying this so much.
Okay.
For a person who's trying to decide, do I work within the box? Do I break the box? Or do I just abandon the box? How does a person know? Do I stay and try to work within the system? Do I try to just completely dismantle and shift the system? Or do I just go to a total different system altogether? How do you tell a person, what should they look for even in deciding that? Like, okay, maybe I'm not being used like I should. Maybe people don't understand me, but this is where God has planted me. When do you know what to do?
I would say you know what to do because there comes a time where you are just really disheartened. You're frustrated.
Okay.
And you just like, I just can't anymore. You've lost your passion. Thank you. You've lost your passion. There's no more passion. There's no more desire. This just isn't it anymore.
Okay.
And at that point, I believe open the box and step out because some boxes you don't want to destroy because you've learned something from there.
Okay.
So you want to be able to step out of the box, take those things with you and progress and move forward. And I think you have to begin to understand when it's a cage, let's call it, when it's a cage and the cage has you locked in and you got to bind to get out versus a box where you could just open up and say, woo, it's time to go. I would say, look at the passion. Have you lost your passion for that? I'm going to share this real quick. So I know I've always been called to warfare. I know it. The way I deal with it is different. People on here can witness, sometimes I've shocked myself with what has happened, but I know it's not me, it's the Lord. But there was a period of time I didn't want to do that anymore. Okay. I didn't want to do that. And you know why? I'm going to be transparent. It wasn't popular.
Right.
It's not popular. I don't have the friends. People stray away because they think I'm going to see a spirit on them. No one wants to have a conversation with me because they think it's all going to come out to be all spiritual. It wasn't popular. I wanted to be able to do things and I couldn't because the Lord was like, no, I need you to stay home today. I'd be like, what? Nothing happens. Nice outside. Why I got to stay in here? Not knowing, staying in, preparing me for something that was going to happen that I didn't know.
Wow.
So I got to the point where I didn't want to do that anymore. But guess what? The passion was still there because if anybody dealt with anything that, you need to fight, go in, fight spiritually, talk about different things that are happening. There was something that rose in me. Okay. It just rose in me. I was like, okay. And it just got my attention. And so recently, I will say recently, tell the truth, Shay, and I will say recently, I would say probably over the last 2 years or so that I said, Lord, okay, I got it. I'll come back over here. I'm back. I forgive me. I strayed away. Didn't want to do the warfare. Didn't want to do the fighting. Didn't want to go in and intercede for other people. I just didn't want to do it. But that was my passion.
Wow.
That was my passion.
And what I love about you is you have been innovative in ministry. You have been ministering virtually way before the pandemic. Whereas maybe you didn't get certain prime time or podium time or opportunities here and there. You got your phone, your laptop, and said, hey, I'm going to minister to the ones God has assigned to my voice. How did that happen? The first time you went on Periscope, the first time you went on Facebook Live, what were you thinking? And how did you even say, you know what, Lord, I'm going for it?
Actually, I have to share this quick story. This came about my niece and nephew. They had questions.
Okay.
Spiritual questions. And they said, you know, why don't you go on live and do something?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, those people don't want to hear what I have to say. So I started with them one evening. We were just going through and they were asking me questions. And I was even surprised at the answers that was dropping. Because sometimes with all that studying and all that I had, I didn't know I had it till it was
Mm-hmm.
coming out. And so they recommended that I started with Periscope and the go-to meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go-to meeting. And then I just stopped. I just stopped the go-to meeting and I just did Periscope. And I stayed on Periscope. And I was just like, Lord, what do you want me to talk about? And he would just tell me different things to talk about. And what helped me to just stay there was the fact that if I helped one person,
Mm-hmm.
that was such a fulfilling experience. If I was able to help one person to understand something, or, you know, and then people begin to email me, begin to say how it helped them, begin to ask to pray for them. And so this had nothing to do. And again, I didn't advertise. All I did was just go on Periscope. And then one day, this is funny. This is where you have to hear the Lord. One day, you know, I'm going on Facebook. I'm going to do Facebook. Well, if you notice, I only was on Facebook maybe 3 times. Every time it messed up. It wouldn't do anything. I was sitting one day and the Lord clearly said to me, YouTube. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
When I went on YouTube, I've been there ever since. So, like you said, I'm trying to work Periscope, trying to work YouTube. You know, before they came out with these devices, I had my laptop, had my phone. So that's how it came about. I just clearly heard the voice of the Lord say YouTube. And I said, okay. And then I was just obedient, said, Lord, what do you want me to share with these people?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want me to tell them? And then the Lord began to give me different topics, different ideas. And then he began to get very specific with the messages he wanted me to share.
Right.
You know, he was like, no, this is perfect. Tell my people. And they're not going to believe me. They're not, you know, I'm not doing that. I was used to doing that in a small group, but I had to operate in faith. And I would sit here and say, okay, Lord, you gave me this word. I'm going on right now. I click the button on and say, you got it, Lord, you know. So I was like, you got it. It's not me. And everybody who has been following me, they know that I let them know it is not me. It's God that's doing this. And then recently what he's been doing is giving me these titles and things to do. So right now I'm kind of putting out there, he's told me to do something called Monday Prayer Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, what? You know, when I had my conversations, like, what? Prayer Talk? Nobody want to hear that. And I'm trying to, and my niece was like, Prayer Fire Day, and all, we trying to come up with topics. And the Lord was like, no, prophetic prayer talk. And so the purpose of that was, there are some, and I like using the word some people that, you know, you go on, they have these prayer calls. And people log in and they have it, but there's no real understanding or direction of what you're praying about, why you're praying about it, and getting it, understanding why this is important. So we talk about it. He gives me something to talk about with them, and then we go into prayer on it. Now, this past week, the Lord said, what did he say? Oh, he said, prayer charge. And I was like, what are you talking about? You know? And I said, that's not going to make any sense at all, Lord. He said, I need the people to charge in prayer starting in March. And he said, just charge them in prayer because they're going to need to be charged for what's coming. And I was like, okay. And then he would just drop different topics to pray about. And he even gave me the time. And I had the people on YouTube laughing because he said 5 days. Well, you know, I'll go on a Monday and I did the prophetic words. So I said 5 days. I said, well, that takes me to Saturday morning. You know, my Saturday morning, 8:30 on my Saturday morning. You want me to pray? And so I was transparent with the people on YouTube. I was like, y'all, I'm praying about Saturdays. I know who's going to win, but I'm still praying. But the Lord specifically told me 5 days of prayer charge, and he gave me topics. And those topics, because of what's coming, and people have to be prepared within themselves. People are running to get a word here, get a word there. You're logging in, and all these words are being given, but then you find your people are getting disheartened and discouraged because they're not understanding the words that are being given and how it's going to pertain to them and what they need to do. And so my thing, what I tell them is the if-then clause. We got, people use that scripture, if my people are called. Mm-hmm. Okay. Stick my place. But there's a condition to it. You got to take care of the if. He has the then. What are you doing with your if? If my people, if you would do what? So what's happening, and the Lord he's just dropping stuff, and I'm just like, oh Lord. But that's the one thing he's dealing with me about. And I know I jumped ahead. I'm sorry, but I want to stay here real quick. He's dealing with me in terms of getting people out of there. Your mindset is still back there, the old paradigm, the old way of thinking, the old way of doing. If you don't get out of there, you're missing the move that God is already doing. The wind of heaven has already shifted. We're going into a new era, but there's a quick shift. Oh my God, I need to stop. There's a quick shift that has taken place. And if you don't get out of there, get out of your old way of doing things, your old way of thinking, to understand the new that's coming forth. There's a new way of acting, a new way of ministering. I heard the Lord tell me constantly, and I told the people this morning, I kept hearing new. There's a new intellect. There's a new intel. There's new weapons of war that are coming. And as men and women of God, yes, we have the war. We have the weapons, but you have to sharpen them up because of what the enemy has already slithered in and started doing. You don't sharpen your weapons. You don't pay attention to what's happening. You don't get your discernment up. I tell them, get it up 200 notches because the enemy's already slithered in. So you have to get out of there. Until the Lord said to me clearly, what was will never be again. People still thinking, when we go back there, hear the word of the Lord. Oh my God, me and Jesus going to have a talk after this. What was will never be.
My God.
What was will never be. And for people to understand, it's not going to do you any good to go get all these prophetic words and you don't do your part. Prophetic words are based upon conditions. So, and that's what happens when people give a word and it doesn't come to fruition when they think it should. They're quick to call those people false prophets. No, did you do your if? Because God is ready for the then, but did you perform your if? What are the ifs that you're not doing that God can't fulfill the word that he's already placed on your life? What is you're not doing with your if that you're stopping the prophecy for coming to pass? Let me stop right there. I'm done. I ain't saying nothing else.
You better keep going till the Lord tell you to stop. You ain't going to get me in trouble. I'm going to put, Sharita put her connect information, her YouTube and her Instagram. I've been watching Dr. Lindsay on Periscope. When Periscope first came out, what was it, Wednesdays at 10, Chosen Vessel Ministry. Amen. So you can connect with her. Her YouTube channel is there, Dr. TJ Lindsay. And then on Instagram, Lindsay Twila. And then your Cash App, Lady Travis, sow into her ministry. Sow into her ministry, a Chosen Vessel, ACV. And then T Lindsay, $, correct? $ first?
Yes. I'm sorry. I forgot to put the $sign up.
$ ACV T Lindsay. And you want to sow into her ministry. If she said anything to you, if she's ministered to you in any kind of way, dropped a nugget, something that she said, sow into her ministry, connect with her. The Lord led me to ask her for this interview. I know how busy she is, but it was something you posted. You posted about your prayer and the prayer challenge that you're having this week, the prayer prophetic. And my wife just had one for February, 28 days.
Oh,
You
okay.
need to talk. Y'all need to talk. I'm
We
saying
need
this
to talk.
y'all too. When you talk about little black things running across the church, y'all need to talk. That's your little cousin. Y'all need to talk.
She is my cousin. Just thought I'd put that out there. She is my cousin.
Y'all need to talk because y'all saying, yeah.
So walk in it, accept it, embrace it, walk in it. Put those things in their place. It has been truly an honor. I'm so sorry I kind of jumped ahead, but it's important.
No. You're fine. Is there anything in closing that you want to say to the audience that's watching live or may watch the recording later? Any final word that God gives you, go with it.
No, it's just that. Yeah, I just hear the Lord say, just remind them to get out of there. You can't stay in that old place. You really can't. There's some that's going to stay there. Leave them there. Stop trying to bring them over if they're not ready to come over. If they miss it, they just miss it. I know that sounds harsh, but that's what I hear the Spirit of the Lord say. You have to come out of there. You have to. That old regime, that old way will not work with this new era. There is a shift that has already taken place. And to be a part of that shift, you have to transpose your way of thinking or you will miss it. So that's all I'm getting from the Lord. Please just come out of there. There's a new way. There is such a new, I keep saying I want to stop. There's a new way. And that new way, you're going to miss it if you keep thinking about what was. You learn from what was. What was is the lesson that you're learning to grow, to bring over. You got to get out of there. And remember, what God does for us is conditional. He's waiting on you. He is waiting on you. He's already done his part. He's waiting on you. New way. I see you say new way. It's completely a new, different way. It's a shift. I keep hearing a shift, a paradigm shift. If you don't, people say it's new, I'm doing something new. You're not doing anything new. All you're doing is enhancing the old. You have to do the new. If it's no more than I can't go there. Okay. It's just no more. You got to come out of that shift. Come walk out of your box. There we go. Walk out of your box. Some of y'all need to kick your cages open because your cages are so locked and sealed. You need to kick them open. And when you kick them open, don't go back in there. Don't go back. The shift is already taking place. Whether you're going to be a part of it is up to you, whether you perform your if part. So that's it. Be encouraged. Stay focused. Most of all, stay focused. The enemy has already slithered in. You do not want to be hooked up, wound up, and cause yourself to get into what the enemy has slithered in to do. And that's because your level of discernment is not where it should be. In this day and age, your discernment needs to be up 200%. How do you get that? Through prayer and intimate relationship with God. Prayer is the key. Prayer is what's going to charge you. Prayer is going to keep you going. Prayer is going to keep you moving. Prayer is going to be the charge to ignite you to have faith. The prayer is going to be the charge to ignite you to trust God. Prayer is going to be the charge to cause you to take that step when you don't think you can take the step. Prayer is going to cause you to have the charge that you needed to have the faith, to have the wisdom, to have the trust. Prayer is going to be the charge you need when the enemy come up against you. Your prayer, you already charged, and he should be able to see the prayer life on you, the anointing on you, the glory spewing through your pores. He should be able to see that, and that's the repellent that's going to cause him to step back. There is an anointing, there's a protection, there's a shield around you, but if you stay in prayer, that's what God will keep you and cover and protect you. I'm stopping right there. I'm sorry.
I ain't stopping you till you Sure.
So people, somebody's out there pulling me. I feel it. I feel it. This
Go
happens on
ahead.
the YouTube.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel it. No, I need them to stop pulling on me.
But
I need them to
put that
stop.
on the screen. If you didn't know her before, see that on the title. Evangelist Twila Lindsay, PhD, Associate Dean. This is the Associate Dean of the Catholic University of America. Evangelist, PhD, Bachelor's, Master's, PhD, Howard University. Well, Master's and PhD, Howard University. Chosen Vessel Ministry. Put that cash up back up there again.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Whatever camera she needs, whatever lighting she needs, whatever she needs for this virtual ministry, the conferences once this pandemic is over, the books that she is writing, that will be publishing. I want y'all to sow in. I want you to connect to her. If you can pour oil and minister on StreamYard like this, imagine what it's like in person or when she's on her platform. So I encourage you, connect with her, professionally connect with her, spiritually connect with her, prophetically connect with her. You need to know she's been hiding too long. And so if my little platform, I want to put you out there and let the world know you need to know and hear of Evangelist Dr. Twila Lindsay. Chosen vessel. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You rocking. You sure?
No, I'm going to shut it down. I need to shut it down. They do this to me. I know some people on the YouTube family that's watching, and they're probably putting comments in there. They do this to me all the time. The YouTube was supposed to start out with 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. It ended up being 45 one time. Now it's like an hour. And then it's going over, and I'm just telling them I'm going to stop that. There are a few of them that joined. Thank you to my YouTube family for joining. Bishop Travis, this has been a blessing. I appreciate you and your wife so much. I really do. I do appreciate you. And for those from YouTube family, y'all need to connect with him. Okay? He does Monday Mantles. And I ran across you I was at work. You come on at 12 o'clock on something.
Oh, yeah, YLC TV. Yeah, YLC TV on Fridays at 12. Yeah.
Okay, y'all hear that to the YouTube family. I'm sorry. Put your stuff up there. I was actually went to the office on Friday. Normally, and I was sitting there and I know I should be doing work. But I was sitting there in the store and I was like, what is going on? I was like, but I'm in the office. I can't, I was like, I can't. I didn't want to even try to put the earphones on. But I just want to put that out there for those that I know you're doing more and great and wonderful things. And look, I'm going to go back on you. He has 2 wonderful books out. You all should get it. He has services available, legal service. I'm putting you out there now. Legal services available. You need help with anything. This is the person that you go. Now I got to reverse that thing back on you now. There you go. It is truly, I am so grateful that God put me on your heart. It is such a blessing. And I pray that the words I've shared, the answers has definitely helped someone. And that even the word the Lord gave me these last few moments that I was trying to stop, I pray it is permeated. What I've been telling people now, permeated into your soil. You're the soil now. So make sure the seed has gone deep into the soil. And now the seed has been planted. Take that soil and fertilize it accordingly, water it accordingly, that it will take root, it will take ground, and that the enemy, the birds will not come and steal it, nor the winds and waves that may come from storms will steal it. Take what you've learned here tonight and what your bishop, I know you have your members sharing what your bishop shares with you, and even on the upcoming things that will come, take those seeds, plant them, Don't let the enemy come and snatch them up. You are the soil, and you are responsible for making sure that seed gets rooted, planted, and germinates accordingly. I'm
When's your
done
next
for real.
broadcast? When's your next
Huh?
broadcast? When's your next broadcast?
It'll be Monday. No, it'll be Monday. So it's called Monday Prayer Prophetic Talk.
At what time?
Is that right? I know. So yeah, Mondays Prophetic Prayer Talk. It's on Monday.
Monday, what time?
About 9:30, between 9:15 and 9:30. So I usually try to post to let them know, I'm about to go on like 15, 20 minutes before. So it's on Mondays. It's on YouTube, my channel, Dr. TJ Lindsay. And Periscope is coming to an end. So I will still broadcast on Periscope up until the last Monday of this month. Okay. And then I'll wait for other instructions. On my IG, I usually just post words of encouragement and sayings. I haven't uploaded any recordings on there yet.
So is that tonight? Are you going on?
No, it's on Monday mornings. I'm sorry, Monday mornings. Monday morning.
Are you was the week long this week or last week?
It was this past week.
Okay. So if they want to catch you again, they got to wait till Monday, unless the Lord lay on your heart to do a part 2 to this. So you need to connect with her. So whenever she go live and you subscribe, you can get the notification, because God ain't done with her. She ain't gonna be able to sit on this till next Monday. So whenever she go live this week, you want to make sure you connect with her so you know what God is telling her to say to you.
Oh, and who is this? Your wife? No, who did I miss?
I'm saying that to those who are watching.
Oh,
the people. Whatever you cutting off now, but you ain't done. And what you got, you ain't gonna be able to sit on to next Monday. So whenever you go live between now and Monday, if they connected to you on YouTube and IG, they can connect with you when you go live. Because I don't even know if you're gonna finish. I don't know if you're going to sleep tonight. It's gonna hit you again, whether it's in the morning. And so if you connected with her, she gonna tell you when she going live, and you could hear what God has to say through her to us on the next appointed time. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you. Once again, Mantle Mondays. Wow. Thank God for Mantle Mondays and prayer, whether or not to continue it or not. I think the Lord has given us the green light to continue to go forward. We have some exciting guests coming up. This is Women's History Month. We have one deviation from Women's History Month. Next week, we have Overseer Aaron McNair, who will be our guest. Overseer Aaron McNair, pastor of Mount Moriah Community Church in Raleigh and Deeper Life Church in Goldsboro, North Carolina. The following week, we have Dr. Matisa Wilburn, a YLC. And then we close out the month with Bishop Bonnie Hunter, the first consecrated bishop in the Bible Way Church, International Bible Way Church, who will close out our Women's History Month. And we already have speakers lined up for April. And we've gotten some positive responses from some speakers that we're seeking for the month of May. So we just thank God for you. And we pray that these Mantle Mondays have been a blessing to you. Like, share, comment, inbox. Let us know how you feel about the interviews, the guests that we have. If there's a guest you would like for us to interview. And if you're getting something from this, we would love just to hear from you. To know, hey, I'm enjoying it. Keep it going. Keep it coming, because it's been a blessing to me. I want to thank my wife, who's the executive producer. She puts it all together, the flyers, the graphics, the comments. She does it all. She is my all. She does it all. And I'm always appreciative to her for everything that she does to help me do the things that God has put in my hands to do. So once again, it's never too early to plan or prepare for success. Good night, and God bless from Mantle Mondays.